Like searches, um, like there's many products or many services that just under the covers are actually a search problem. Like things like recommendations, which are everywhere, right? Every single consumer product, certainly, from TikTok to you name it, dating apps and so on, are all variations of this recommendations problem, which in turn is a special case of the search problem. Right? It's just basically I've got a big pool of potential things I can feed you, and just how do I sort and sift through that field or that pool and feed certain things to you first. And so search is one of the things that it percolates up in many different places, many different ways.
Uh, You just mentioned enterprise organizations. Any
Mhm.
particular ideas that you've seen being set up by some of your customers? Like, "Oh, this is pretty cool. I didn't thought about that being
Oh,
built
interesting.
within with our tools."
That's a good question. I mean, we're definitely seeing, like within enterprise, I think within enterprise software broadly, like the financial services sector is some crazy percentage. I mean, maybe a third of all, the IT globally is like a multi-trillion-dollar business. Maybe a third of that is all spent by these financial services firms. And so the amount of crazy stuff that they have, budget and ROI and impetus and skill and teams and so on to go after, is always amazing. I mean, like a couple of years ago, yeah, when I say a couple, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, it was considered a kind of a crazy thing that these initial wave of hedge funds and trading firms, were building up these big AI bots. Like this is way before anybody else was doing it, but they were building and deploying this stuff at scale. They're building up these big pools of AI bots that were doing nothing but just reading the news and using news feeds to kind of guess sentiment and look for that tiny bit of slightest little bit of insight into a stock or a company or a new CEO being hired or a new executive moving to a different firm, and immediately turning that into a trading signal, or immediately turning that into like a